You have to kill him? I'm not a murderer. You just killed somebody 5 minutes ago.
TUBI has more horror than most people realize, and today we're breaking down 20 hidden gems you can watch right now. And if you're here for your daily horror fix, make sure to like and subscribe. Number 20, Wakewood.
You were going to leave me.
I was scared.
Are you still scared?
Patrick and Louise, shattered by the death of their daughter Alice, flee to the remote village of Wakewood in search of solace. But grief lingers, and when the locals reveal an ancient ritual that can bring a loved one back for just 3 days, they seize the chance to see Alice again. Directed by David Keating, Wakewood is a chilling folk horror rooted in pagan resurrection rites and the terrifying price of defying nature. As their daughter returns, something is wrong. Alice isn't the girl they buried, and with each passing hour, the illusion rots. The village's secrets grow darker, the ritual's rules begin to unravel, and the couple is forced to confront the consequences of playing God. Number 19, Demonic.
I'm telling you, it wasn't human.
I think you killed him, John.
When officers respond to a disturbance at a decaying house on the outskirts of town, they discover a horrific crime scene. Blood, bodies, and only one survivor. With no clear explanation, a detective and a psychologist are brought in to interrogate the traumatized young man, unraveling a terrifying tale that spirals into the unknown. As the investigation deepens, they uncover evidence of a seance gone wrong, ghost hunting experiments, and a force that defies reason. The more they push for answers, the more the lines blur between reality and something far more sinister. Directed by Will Cannon, Demonic is a paranormal descent wrapped in mystery, where every whisper and shadow could be the last warning. Number 18, Match. Paula, a hopeful young woman, steps into what should have been a casual first date, only to find herself trapped in a stranger's home with no way out. The lights are dim, the windows don't open. Her phone's dead, and the man who greeted her with charm now watches her too closely, his smile growing colder by the second. Match unfolds as a brutal descent into a meticulously staged house of psychological torment, where every room hides a twisted test and every word is a lie. As Paula searches for an escape, she uncovers terrifying signs that she's not the first guest and may not be the last. The walls tighten, the rules change, and the illusion of safety unravels into pure survival. Number 17, Son.
David?
It's tough stuff.
Late one night, a terrified mother wakes to find strangers standing over her son's bed, and by the time the police arrive, there's no trace they were ever there. Soon after, the boy becomes violently ill, but doctors can't explain what's happening to him. Desperate and afraid, she begins a relentless journey for answers that leads her into the shadows of her own forgotten past. As her reality begins to fracture, she's forced to question whether something evil is targeting her child, or if something far worse has already taken hold. Directed by Ivan Kavanagh, Son is a harrowing blend of psychological horror and occult mystery steeped in paranoia and the crushing fear of losing what we love most. Number 16, Dreamcatcher.
I don't want to see this, Jonesy. Man, I can't see this.
4 childhood friends reunite in a remote snowbound cabin to share old memories, but something monstrous is waiting in the woods. A strange man stumbles in from the storm, speaking in riddles and bleeding from places no one should. Soon after, they discover an alien force has infected the forest, and it's growing. Directed by Lawrence Kasdan and adapted from Stephen King's novel, Dreamcatcher begins as a nostalgic retreat and mutates into a mind-bending blend of body horror and cosmic terror. As the friends are drawn into a deadly conflict between a parasitic entity and a shadowy military force, the bonds that once held them together are tested in gruesome, otherworldly ways. Number 15, The Hallow.
Fairies, banshees, baby stealers.
So you're a believer?
When a conservationist and his young family relocate to a remote Irish forest village so he can study the local ecology, they're met with cold warnings from the locals to stay away from the surrounding woods, but the couple dismisses the superstitions. Soon after moving into their secluded mill house on the forest's edge, unsettling signs emerge in the trees and strange nocturnal sounds ripple through the darkness. With each passing night, the untamed wilderness closes in, challenging their belief in science over lore and forcing them to confront forces that defy explanation. The Hollow blends elemental folk horror with eerie creature mystery rooted in Celtic myth, crafting a tense atmosphere of isolation and creeping menace that keeps you on edge without revealing its deepest secrets. Number 14, We Are Still Here.
30 years or so, the goddamn place just wakes up! And it demands new blood!
Paul and Anne, devastated by the sudden death of their son, leave the city and move into a lonely, snow-covered New England farmhouse, hoping the silence will ease their grief. But the house, older than it looks, begins whispering secrets. Anne senses their son's presence, only to discover they've bought more than memories. A house haunted by vengeful spirits and drenched in violent history. Directed by Ted Geoghegan, the film morphs from sorrowful mourning into a malevolent trap, where grief becomes a dangerous threshold and the line between the living and the dead erodes. As darkness closes in, old horrors awaken and what was meant to heal becomes a fight for survival. Number 13, Antiviral.
So far, I've had all her diseases.
Must have been expensive.
Is there any way you could spread it?
In a near future obsessed with fame, a clinic has pioneered a chilling new service where admirers pay to be injected with the very viruses that once afflicted their idols, turning celebrity worship into a visceral experience. Sid March, an employee at that clinic, navigates the cold, sterile corridors of this booming industry, dealing in the most intimate remnants of stardom and pushing the boundaries between admiration and embodiment. When unforeseen complications arise from his work, he's drawn deeper into a web of corporate intrigue and personal sacrifice, forcing him to reckon with the cost of proximity to the celebrated individuals he's surrounded by. Directed by Brandon Cronenberg in his striking feature debut, Antiviral is a sleek sci-fi horror that melds unsettling concept with body-centric tension. Number 12, Brainscan.
I won't kill her! Shoot her!
Michael, a lonely teenager obsessed with horror and video games, discovers a mysterious new interactive experience called Brainscan. Promising total immersion, the game blurs fantasy and reality, until a murder he commits inside the game appears to have happened in real life. With no way to prove his innocence, Michael is stalked by the sinister Trickster, a sadistic digital entity that manipulates his every move. Directed by John Flynn, the film is a surreal techno-horror thriller that preys on the fears of mind control, media addiction, and identity collapse. As Michael spirals into paranoia and guilt, the line between player and pawn vanishes. The Trickster feeds on chaos, and each level of the game digs deeper into real-world violence. Number 11, Spree.
Where are you going?
Kurt Kunkel is a rideshare driver and aspiring online star who will do anything to break through the noise of internet fame, rigging his car with cameras and live streaming his every move in a bid to go viral. His obsession with followers and likes turns his night behind the wheel into a twisted performance where reality bends under the glare of screens and viewer counts. As the crowd watches and comments, the boundaries between entertainer and participant blur into an unpredictable, unnerving game of attention where every moment feels like it could spiral out of control. Spree subverts the familiar found footage style with split screens and live stream overlays, crafting a satirical thrill ride that holds a mirror up to our own digital age obsession with virality and validation. Here are 4 other movies you have to see. The Gift.
Simon Says, beautiful wife. Simon Says.
A married couple relocates to a quiet suburban neighborhood, hoping for a fresh start. Their peace is disrupted when an old acquaintance unexpectedly reappears. He begins leaving strange gifts and showing up uninvited. As tension grows, buried secrets and past wounds begin to surface. Their perfect life begins to unravel with every knock at the door. body snatchers.
We're gonna get out of here, Marty.
Strange changes ripple through a military base after a family relocates to the area. People begin acting in eerie, detached ways that raise suspicions. Tension mounts as paranoia spreads and identities become increasingly unclear. The film plays with themes of conformity and alienation in a setting that grows colder with every scene. Ghost ship.
Haunted, possessed, whatever you want to call it. I say we get our boat going and get the hell out of here.
A salvage crew discovers a seemingly abandoned ocean liner drifting in the Bering Sea. Curious and eager, they board the vessel to claim it as their prize. Inside, the ship appears frozen in time, filled with eerie remnants of its luxurious past. As they explore further, a sinister presence makes itself known. The deeper they go, the more they realize the ship may never have been truly empty. Maximum overdrive.
I just want to get the hell out of here.
Everyday machines begin behaving with lethal intent after a bizarre cosmic event. Stranded individuals must survive as the technology around them turns aggressive. The situation escalates into a chaotic blend of action and absurdity. King's direction embraces a campy, high-octane energy with sparks of dark humor. Number 10, Infinity Chamber.
Job, Howard!
I can't do that.
What is your job?
To keep you alive.
Then open the goddamn door!
Frank Lerner wakes up disoriented in a sterile, automated prison cell with no memory of how he got there. Only a coldly clinical system attending his every need. A voice-controlled AI called Howard monitors him. Frank soon realizes he's trapped in a high-tech incarceration where reality fractures as memories loop. Directed by Travis Malloy, Infinity Chamber becomes a suffocating psychological sci-fi horror. Frank must outsmart Howard to escape, even as his memories betray him and the walls around him blur with time. As the outside world teeters on collapse, the automated prison becomes an existential trap where the cost of freedom might be losing what makes you human. Number 9, Come to Daddy.
You have to kill him? I'm not a murderer. You just killed somebody 5 minutes ago.
After years of estrangement, a successful woman receives an unexpected letter from the father she barely remembers, inviting her to the secluded cabin where he now lives. On arrival, she finds a grizzled man waiting with a mixture of awkward warmth and unsettling tension, his intentions as murky as the wilderness that surrounds them. What begins as a tentative reunion quickly slips into a bizarre and increasingly dangerous encounter, where the rules of civility break down and hidden edges of the past begin to surface. Come to Daddy is a pitch-black blend of black comedy and intense psychological unease, its quirky tone masking an unpredictable current of tension that keeps you off balance. Number 8, American Mary.
Have you ever heard of body modification? What's that?
Dreams, yeah?
Yeah.
Mary Mason is a medical student, brilliant but broke, scraping by when desperation leads her to accept a job at a seedy nightclub, and things quickly go wrong. Lured into performing underground surgeries for cash, she enters the shadowy world of extreme body mode clients whose demands are grotesque and taboo. The film unfolds as a visceral plunge into body horror and moral decay. As Mary grows more proficient, she transforms from a struggling student into an underground surgeon willing to mutilate flesh for profit, haunted by violence, exploitation, and her own trauma. The sterile promise of money turns into a twisted bargain. A path that fractures her identity, blurs ethics, and reveals the monstrous price of survival. Number 7, Belzebuth.
His name's Rosilio Canetti.
When gruesome, unexplained tragedies begin unfolding along the borderlands, Special Agent Emmanuel Ritter is pulled into an investigation that defies everything he thought he understood about human evil and the unknown. What starts as a cryptic series of inexplicable deaths gradually reveals patterns that refuse rational explanation, drawing in a Vatican-linked priest whose perspective blurs the line between spiritual warfare and something far darker. Together, they navigate a shadowed path where ancient forces seem to stir beneath everyday life, and every lead deepens the mystery rather than solves it. Directed by Emilio Portes, Belzebuth blends police procedural elements with supernatural tension, layering chilling ambiguity over folklore and demonology that keeps you guessing instead of revealing its deepest secrets. Number 6, Gonjiam, Haunted Asylum. A crew of thrill-seeking content creators enters the infamous Gonjiam psychiatric hospital, abandoned, rotting, and whispered to be cursed. Their goal? To live stream a night inside and rake in viral fame. But once the doors shut, the building begins to breathe. The film is a masterclass in found footage terror, escalating from playful scares to pure nerve-shredding horror. As the crew explores deeper, they awaken something buried, something watching. Rooms vanish, team members go silent, and the feed begins capturing things no human should see. With each step, the asylum pulls them further into its grasp, twisting fear into madness. What starts as a stunt becomes a fight to escape a place that feeds on fear, traps souls, and never lets go. Number 5, Solomon Kane. Born into violence and hardened by war, Solomon Kane wanders a ruthless 16th century world, a sword for hire with a haunted past and a restless soul. After a chance encounter ignites a spark of conscience, he vows to renounce bloodshed and seek redemption, but the forces he once served have other plans. Drawn into a dark tapestry of occult evil, fanatical cults, and ancient malevolence, Kane is pulled from the path of peace and into a battle for more than his own salvation. Solomon Kane melds swashbuckling action with gothic horror, its fog-choked landscapes and brutal encounters evoking a world where hellish shadows lurk just beyond the campfire light. With every clash of steel and whisper of the supernatural, this grim odyssey unfolds a tale of redemption pursued on the razor's edge between humanity. Number 4, Tenebrea. Peter Neal, an American crime novelist, arrives in Rome to promote his latest book, only to discover that a brutal murderer appears to be using the novel as a blueprint for real killings. The first victim is a young shoplifter slain with a razor and found with pages from Neal's book stuffed into her mouth. As murders mount, a lesbian journalist and her lover, a teenage girl, even a TV interviewer. Suspicion and paranoia swirl. Directed by Dario Argento, Tenebrea re-immerses in the razor-sharp stylings of Italian giallo. Glossy daylight, stark modern architecture, and violence choreographed with ruthless precision. Underneath the murder mystery lurks a dark meditation on art, obsession, and the line between fiction and brutality. Number 3, John dies at the end.
Move now.
In a town where reality is just a suggestion, 2 aimless friends stumble onto a mysterious drug known only as soy sauce, a black liquid that opens doors to places no human should ever go. Time, space, and identity unravel as they're pulled into a battle against things not of this world, with shifting rules and consequences that defy understanding. As strange creatures stalk the shadows and voices whisper from unseen dimensions, their journey becomes a mind-warping plunge into chaos, absurdity, and creeping terror. The film is a genre-defying descent into cosmic horror, stitched together with pitch-black humor and surreal nightmare logic. With every twist, it pulls you deeper into a dimension where nothing is certain, and the truth is often the scariest thing of all. Number 2, The Girl with All the Gifts.
You can save everybody. Oh my God.
In a world devastated by a fungal plague that turns most humans into mindless, flesh-eating monsters known as hungries, a handful of children remain. Second-generation survivors who think, speak, and remember their humanity. Among them is Melanie, a curious and exceptionally gifted girl kept in a fortified military base and taught by a compassionate teacher, Helen Justino. Directed by Colum McCarthy, the film plunges viewers into a haunting post-apocalyptic journey when the base falls and Melanie must venture through a ravaged, hunger-filled wasteland. As they struggle to survive, Melanie challenges everything they thought they knew about monsters and humanity. Number 1, Spring. Following personal loss, a young American named Evan impulsively travels to Italy hoping a change of scenery might mend his fractured life, only to find himself drawn to a mysterious local woman named Louise, who seems impossibly alluring and unknowable. Their connection sparks quickly, and as they wander sun-washed coastal towns and rustic countryside, Evan feels something genuine stirring between them, even as subtle oddities flicker beneath the surface of their romance. With each shared laugh and intimate moment, it becomes clear that Louise carries a secret far older and stranger than anything Evans encountered. Directed by the Moorhead brothers, Spring blends tender romantic drama with uncanny mystery, unfolding like a love story brushed with shadows that curl at the edges of sight and sense. Here are 4 other movies you have to see. The Lost Boys.
Yes, first. How are those maggots?
2 teenage brothers move to a seaside town known for its boardwalk and its disappearances. They quickly fall in with a group of rebellious youths who seem to live by their own rules. One brother embraces the wild energy while the other senses something darker at play. The town hides a secret that thrives after dark: blood quantum. A virus sweeps across the population, but a secluded First Nations reserve discovers an unsettling immunity. As survivors flood toward the reserve, tensions build between those seeking refuge and those already living there. The outbreak reveals more than physical threats. It stirs buried fears and conflicts. It's a bloody, atmospheric take on both horror and heritage. All Hallows Eve. On Halloween night, a babysitter finds a mysterious VHS tape in the children's treat bag. She plays it out of curiosity and witnesses a series of disturbing short films. Each story features a haunting, silent clown with a terrifying presence. What begins as eerie entertainment becomes something far more personal. The tape doesn't just show horror, it invites it in. Beazle. Locals whisper about a New England house with a dark and shifting history. Over the decades, those who visit encounter strange phenomena that defy logic. Every story adds to a growing mythos that suggests something ancient lingers behind its walls. The home itself seems to absorb and echo the secrets of its visitors.